What is up, everybody? My name is the Hellborn, Dill Pickle 22, Weeb Extraordinaire, Loser 42069. How's everyone doing? Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Today we are going to be looking at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards for the 2022-23 award season. So let's go ahead and get this rockin' and a rollin', beginning from the bottom with Best Voice Artist Performance English. Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't particularly watch a lot of anime dubbed, but I can see the one anime I did watch dubbed this year is listed. So let's go ahead and look at the nominees. We have Amanda Lee, or Amelie, one of my favorite TikTokers, for my Dress Up Darling. We have Jeremy Lee for Kotaro Lives Alone. Natalie Van Sistine for Spy Family. Pro ZD! Oh yeah, for Kage. Hell yeah. Another wonderful anime influencer. Zach Aguilar for Cyberpunk. And then Zeno Robinson for Dragon Ball. Now, the only one that I've watched fully from this list dubbed is, in fact, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. And I do think that David was phenomenally voice acted from what I watched. And the only other one that I actually heard of is ProZD for Kage. Just because I'm a big ProZD fan, been following him for years. One of my favorite things of content of all time is Goofy sings Evanescence. How can you see into my eyes? And then, wake me up! I can die from that video every time. But in terms of this, I will just go ahead and vote for Zach Aguilar for David. So that is for English. Now for the Japanese voice actors. The nominees are... We have Anya Forger, Chika, for Jolene, okay. We have Fapta. We have Tanjiro. And of course we have Eren Yeager. So, as opposed to dubbed anime, I watch subbed anime, so I can talk more in depth about this. So, my first thought is Eren, Kaji Yuki. Eren's progression as a character into the final season, part 1,072,000,072, root over 5, has been stellar. Just look at this man. Imagine the voice acting that has to go into portraying this broken man. In a similar sense, Fapta, also a broken individual. Anya is hilarious, right? But when we talk about voice acting, you have to do with range, right? And Anya's range is adorable to adorable times a billion. So I'm not sure Anya's getting my vote. I don't think Chika's getting my vote for the same reason. Jolene, oh my god, I love Jolene's voice actress. I love Jolene's performance. It's probably the best main Jobro since, well, her dad. Tanjiro, nope, again, range. I'm gonna say, for best voice acting performance for Japanese, I am gonna vote for Fapta, Kuno Misaki. I know you can go either or with Fapta and Eren. I'm perfectly fine with either of those. I think I voted for Eren in the same category last year. So take that with what you will. But both of these are perfectly great. Next category. We are getting into the genres. Best romance. And I can already tell you right now, friends, I'm a broken-hearted man with a black soul. I don't watch romance. There's gonna be like two things. And we all know what's gonna win from this anyway. The nominees for Best Romance are Call of the Night. Red flag, red flag. Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Komi Can't Communicate. Love After World Domination. My Dress Up Darling. And Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. I don't know if you guys recall, but this is a little bit controversial. The age gap, Move on. You watched 5 out of 6, You're Lonely? Same. I watched... So the only ones I haven't watched is this season of Kaguya and Love After World Domination. So I'm obviously playing for these four. Komi can't communicate, even including the second season, which they are clearly saying. The development between the two main characters hasn't been fully realized yet, in my opinion. It's a great show. I just don't think they're at the best romance part of it yet. Dress Up Darling. I mean, we all love Marine. She was best girl for the 3 months that this aired, then we all moved on to the next person. Shikimori. I know a lot of people were disappointed with Shikimori. I wasn't as disappointed with Shikimori. The two biggest complaints were that one, they were already a couple by episode 1, so we don't get that development to that point, which I don't mind. Shows have done that before. If anything, it was a nice refresher. 2 is that like the gender roles were flipped in that instead of he's the protector, she's the protector, instead of how it typically is. And it's something I also liked. I just don't think the show was just a good adaptation. I'll say this, Call of the Night is like the best show for me in these listings. I'm just debating if it's romancy enough to overcome Dress Up Darling. I already know Kaguya is gonna win. Like, I'm pretty sure Kaguya has won this award every year that like Tonikawa or Horimiya. I'm picking my Dress Up Darling because the romance seems more natural. I highly enjoy the trope of two people bonding over similar interests, while one is like the otaku and the other is like the more mainstream, ditz in this case. I love how like Marina's like so 3D or multi-dimensional in that regard, and that she buys into the cosplay world. And Kaguya-sama had the moment, right? It was the moment that everyone in the fandom was waiting for, and it happened in this season. So I'm not going to be surprised if Kaguya just sweeps this one. But for me personally, because I haven't watched Kaguya yet, I'm going with my Dress Up Darling. Next category will be Best Fantasy. One of my favorite genres. Let's look at the nominees. Demon Slayer, Entertainment District, Made in Abyss, The Golden City, Mushoku Tensei, Season 1, Part 2, Overlord, Season 4. Gosh, they're still making these, huh? The second half of Ranking of Kings, and the second half of the case study of Vanitas. So, what can we automatically... We can automatically eliminate Overlord Season 4. Haven't caught up to that. The other 5 I have watched. Personally, I did not find the second half of Vanitas as strong as the first half, so we're crossing Vanitas off. The second half of Ranking of Kings is definitely not better or as good as the first half, so I'm sorry, Boji. You will forever be my best boy, but your show will not be winning Best Fantasy for me. Which leaves us with Demon Slayer, Made in Abyss, and Mushoku Tensei, or Tensei. Still need to watch Ranking of Kings. Great show, really. Oh god. My favorite part of Demon Slayer, my favorite part of Made in Abyss, or my favorite isekai. This is hard. This is probably definitely the first instance of your boy is conflicted. If we're basing this off of like emotional reaction, then it's Made in Abyss by far. If it's visuals, Demon Slayer. I need to poll the audience for this one, which is for Best Fantasy. There we go. I want to go with Mushoku because Made in Abyss made me sad. Anything that makes me sad must be forgotten. The feels are too strong. Well, that just kind of solidified it for me. I will be voting for Made in Abyss. I watched the movie right before season 2. And when I watched the movie, I was like, there's no way that they can top the emotional reaction, especially with the development we got with Bone Dread. The movie made me realize Bone Dread is like one of the best antagonists in recent memory. But then season 2 is like, okay, we see you crying tears into a bucket. We raise you with, you're gonna cry the Nile River and you will drown in it. Furthermore, visually, Kinema Centris does not miss. They have done a great job with Made in Abyss. And the music, I mean, Kevin Pankin is a god. So yeah, I feel okay saying Made in Abyss. I don't think you'd be wrong with going with these three though. I don't think you would be wrong. You'd be wrong if you said Overlord. For Best Fantasy, I will be selecting Made in Abyss Season 2. Best Fantasy. All right, next up we have Best Drama. Ooh. Speaking of tier works, the nominees for Best Drama are 86 Part Attack on Titan, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Dance Dance Danseur, Kotaro Lives Alone, and Made in Abyss Season 2. Well, if Best Fantasy was our first dilemma in terms of deciding, Best Drama is quickly already the second one. I want to be on record in saying the final 2 episodes of 86 Part 2, oh my god. Like, talk about waterworks. The ending of 86 just cried and cried and cried, and it was just so awesome seeing a modern mecha be like good and have a great payoff and have a great following in the anime community. Like, this isn't just some niche thing that 5 of us watched as mecha nerds. This was like a whole community. This is probably A1's best show they've made in the last few years. Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. This was definitely my best show from, let's see, what season was that? Winter of 2022. The reveal at the end, man. Rumbling, rumbling, rumbling. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. The tears just keep coming and they just keep hitting. If 86 was A1's best show they've done in quite a while, Cyberpunk is triggers. I did not watch Dance Dance. It's yet another Mappa thing. Those poor animators. I did not watch Kotaro. And then Made in Abyss once again. With all my praises, I will say 86 is probably a half step below its fellow nominees. Especially if you want to just like solidify to just Part 2. For Best Drama, I will be selecting Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Cyberpunk Edge Runners has so many things going for it. It is phenomenally animated. The art style is just trigger bumped up to 11. It is so fluid. The music is phenomenal. The voice acting, sub and dub, spot on. Almost made me actually pick up Cyberpunk the game again, which I think is probably the biggest compliment I can give any anime. So, for Best Drama, I will be selecting Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I'm hoping this next category isn't as terrifying. Our nominees for Best Comedy are Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Kotaro Lives Alone, My Dress Up Darling, Spy Family, Uncle from Another World, and Ya Boy Kongming. Definitely an easier category. So, like I said, I haven't watched Kaguya-sama yet, so I can't vouch for it. Same thing for Kotaro. I'm intrigued that Kotaro, Homeboy Lives Alone has been nominated like twice already. I know it's available on Netflix and it's highly rated, so there's definitely a niche market there. But the fact that so many judges have put it on is pretty impressive. So maybe I will have to check it out. Spy Family. I love Spy Family. I think it's our first time to talk about Spy Family. Spy Family has the advantage that both parts aired during the year. Like, we're not dealing with, oh, I just have to only think about the second half, or I can only think about the first half. That being said, though, I am in the camp that the second season of Spy Family isn't up to par with the first half, the first season. I do think the pacing's slowed down a bit. That being said, that's like a difference between an 8.5 and an 8. It's still pretty darn good. Uncle from Another World is an interesting choice to have on this, given that, at least in the West, we can legally only watch 7 episodes. If you live in Japan, you can watch 12 episodes, but the 13th episode and the final episode have been indefinitely put on hiatus. So even if you are a native of Japan, you don't even know how that show ends yet. Your boy Kong Ming, the opening is hilarious. I just never came around to watch it. The premise is funny, you know, feudal China dude is teleported to modern day world. But when I think of comedy, I'm thinking of laughs. What's making me laugh all the time, over and over again? And then I also have to think about the quality of the show. If I'm thinking about like just laughs, those first that first half of Uncle from Another World is actually hilarious. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but it's hard to say because we haven't even had the second half. My Dress Up Darling. Did I laugh with My Dress Up Darling? I think the laughter came from those moments. You know, those moments that if your mom walked in on you, you had to switch it from My Dress Up Darling to something else. You know what I'm talking about. And then Spy Family. It's just a good ride. It's just a good time. My selection for best comedy will be... I'm gonna go with Spy Family. The Anya reactions are phenomenal. The anything with Yor living her double life and just her like mannerisms and feelings of always like trying to become a good housewife and then failing but then learning from it, that's always kind of funny. I'm glad that the second half included my favorite like arc, which is when they do tennis. I love that arc. It's so hilarious. For best comedy, I'll be picking Spy Family. And seeing as I don't think Spy Family is going to get too many of the big time awards, I don't feel bad with that. Next up, best action. Oh lord. The nominees for best action are Attack on Titan, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Demon Slayer, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Licorice. Did anyone learn how to say that word? Licorice Recoil. I'm gonna call it Licorice. Licorice Recoil and Spy Family. Best action. So when I think of action, I do think of like not just the quality of the show overall, but like the actual combat, the actual confrontations between characters, which makes some of these interesting because I don't know about y'all, but after a while, the whole gimmick of Recoil where they're just using rubber bullets got annoying, at least for me. I understand why in terms of the plot and the story, but it lost a lot of stakes for me. Did part 2 of final season have like action? I recall the fight at the port, because a lot of the action I remember from the final season was part 1 when they initially invaded Marley, and then right at the end when we start the rumbling is where more action would happen, I imagine, but we haven't gotten to part 3 yet. So I think this is interesting because I think part 2 of the final season for Attack on Titan is less so best action, and this would be where you would have best drama, especially between the confrontation between Eren and Zeke, and just Eren's like reveal after reveal after reveal. JoJo's part 6. Let's talk about JoJo's for a second. JoJo's part 6. I really like the first third of JoJo's part 6 when they're in the prison. I think there's some great dynamics there, and there's some great stand fights. For me, part 6 kind of lost its luster when it got out of the jail and they started like spelunking throughout Florida. And I don't think, and this is just me, JoJo bros, don't hate me, the final fight of JoJo's part 6 wasn't up to the standards of previous JoJo parts. Like, obviously nothing's gonna top Crimson, and I understand that. And I understand that part 6, the whole point of it is like time travel whimsy, but it maybe because it wasn't translating on screen that well, but it was a little overwhelming for me. So, best action. I haven't even talked about Demon Slayer yet. Holy crap. Demon Slayer's action. Pretty good. Ufotable knocks it out of the park every time. So if I had it my way, I will be between Demon Slayer and Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk action. The final fight with Atom Smasher is pretty awesome. The incorporation of like the drugs, it's pretty cool. Don't do drugs, kids. Yeah, action was pretty good in Cyberpunk. I do have it down between Cyberpunk and Demon Slayer. My pick for best action will be Demon Slayer, the entertainment arc. I thoroughly enjoyed this arc. I do think that we actually got some good Hashira action in this one. my favorite Hashira was in this season. I think that they were able to manage the problem that I have a lot with action shows when they have different action set pieces happening simultaneously, but in different locations. Because for me, oftentimes it can be a little jumbled up. You kind of lose track of time. Like, well, if they've already won, why aren't they helping so and so? But this arc, specifically the climax, did a great job in managing that. I do think Tanjiro had some good moments in this arc as well, like to actually justify his existence as the main character. I do not feel bad about this. Demon Slayer, best action. So Crunchyroll, as every year, takes out a few categories, puts in new categories, and this is one that I was specifically looking forward to because I want to see how weird the community is. The nominees for Must Protect at All Costs character are Anya Forger, Boji, Kage, Sato, Marine, and Komi. Wow, Ranking of Kings with the double dip! I'm glad Ranking of Kings is getting love and recognition. God, I love Marine. I love her so much in a non-weird way. Komi, adorable. I'm sure a lot of us weebs can relate to the social anxiety that Komi manages through. I understand why Kage's here. There has to be some other character that was in this year that we could have included, though. And again, this is another instance where, let's see, God of High School and other shows in the past have had it where, like Jujutsu Kaisen, where in the same category you have multiple entries. You're just splitting the vote there. So I would say if you were voting for a Ranking of Kings character, go with Boji. And I say this out loud, and I think Boji was best boy last year. So there might be some overlap here. This is a very long way of saying Anya is clearly the winner of this. Like, come on, chat. Like, duh. Like, yes, exactly. Anya clears. Like, Anya through and through. Everyone give me your best Waka Waka right now. God, I love this manga. I love this show. Like, through and through, Anya hard carries, Anya hard solos. All respect to these other characters, but when you have the category called Must Protect at All Costs, it is Anya through and through. My selection for the Must Protect at All Costs character is Anya Forger from Spy Family. That is by far the easiest category we've done so far. We need more of those easy ones. Now we're gonna have Anya for every category from here on out. Here's another, I think these next two are some of the new categories because they're kind of reshuffling how these are identified. And I support these changes, by the way. Our nominees for Best Supporting Character are which one's this one? the blonde one from Kaguya-sama, Anya Forger, Kage from Ranking of Kings, Rebecca from Cyberpunk, Tengen from Demon Slayer, and Yor from Spy Family. When I asked for easy ones, I asked for easy ones, not hard ones again. Come on. This is another instance of double dipping between Spy Family with Anya and Yor. Like, they're both, in my opinion, they both are qualified to be here. They both should be here. However, if you're like someone that just wants Spy Family wins, this doesn't look good for you. Tengen, I simp for this man like no other. One of my favorite TikToks I made last year was saying how, like, oh man, Jujutsu Kaisen's over, so I can't simp. I don't have a white-haired buff guy to simp for. And then Demon Slayer is like, oh, here's Tengen. I'm like, oh! He's my favorite Hashira that we've seen so far. Mostly because he's not a donut. And he's got 3 wives. Like, the man is living the dream. And he's awesome at combat. Rebecca, people are weird with Rebecca, guys. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. I get it. She's probably of age, like most definitely of age. If anything, she's probably older than David, if I remember right. But it's the whole like, lolly, small body. But she's goddamn hilarious. I want all the words, like all the vocabulary from Cyberpunk into our vernacular. The short queens are gonna fight you. Good luck jumping up to reach me. The ending with Rebecca. Smash or Pass Rebecca edition, Adam Smasher Smash. Spoiler alerts. So best supporting character, you do have to have like both like the characteristics and like their relationship with the main cast. I recognize that. Kage is great for Boji. He's such a great always there for him. My selection for best supporting character will be Tengen from Demon Slayer. And here's why. A, he's a badass. I think of all the Hashiras so far, he has some of the best dynamic qualities. He's not a donut. He has 3 wives. That's pretty boss. If it isn't clear yet, I have such a soft spot for buff dudes with white hair. Our nominees for best main character are Boji, Chisato, David, Aaron, Lloyd, Marine. Woo! Oh boy. Obligatory, everyone in chat, do your best Aaron Yeager right now. Let's just get it out of the system. We haven't done it yet. I feel like it's been brimming in our bodies. I just could not get with the recoil hype. I like it. It is great. I gave it like an 8 out of 10. But when we're talking about the collective we have, I don't think Chisato's in the running. I feel so bad anytime I say bad things about Boji. Here's my thing about Boji, if you haven't watched Ranking of Kings. He is obviously a child, but he is deaf and mute. And so there's something that resonates with me so much. Like, I'm watching him like, I see me! This is so nice. And I see him develop and take on the mantle of king. Contrast that to a literal, I don't even know what words I can say on this platform. We know what this guy's trying to do. Compare that with Boji. Lloyd, it's so hard to separate the 3 of them. I don't think Lloyd's in the running for this either. I love her so much, but I don't think she's in the running. So for me personally, for best main character, I'm between David and Aaron. And I know last year, I think this is why they switched out some of the categories and the names of the categories, because last year, Aaron was nominated for both best pro tag and best antag. And I'm pretty sure he lost the pro tag but won antag. And I was one of the people that really advocated for voting for both of them, the protagonist and best antagonist, for Aaron Yeager. So to see him here is amusing. And absolutely both were right. My selection for best main character is David Martinez from Cyberpunk Edge Runners. In Cyberpunk, we get to see his full character arc from beginning, middle, and end, given that we have a 10 episode completed finished product where we see David as just an outcast all the way through the ending where, yeah, if you know, you know. I do truthfully fully believe that David Martinez was the best main character of this year. But come back to me next year, it'll be Aaron. Like, it'll be Aaron Yeager. The nominees for Best Director are Sorozaki with Demon Slayer, Imayashi with Cyberpunk, Furuhashi with Spy Family, Adachi with Recoil, Hada with Ranking of Kings, and Hayashi with Attack on Titan. When I think of Best Director, I do think of like the paneling, the moment-to-moment beats, how the camera is angled, how the action is played out, how the animation plays out in front of you, which, like, as someone who has like absolutely no like introspection or knowledge of like filmmaking and creating a product, this one's always hard for me, especially if there's like not a Science Saru show, because Science Saru shows always sweep these kind of categories. I feel like I don't know if I need to like rewatch Recoil. I understand people love it, but I watched it, I'm like, this is okay. But there's so much hype behind it that it's hard for me to recognize. Demon Slayer Season 2, ufotable animation, killing it. Trigger, if there's one thing you need to know about me, ladies and gentlemen, others, is that I am the biggest Trigger simp. Spy Family. Personally, the direction of Spy Family is okay. Outside of a few action moments in the beginning of the first half, it didn't scream like, oh, this is some groundbreaking cinematography. I feel like I'm ruffling feathers when I say that. Ranking of Kings. This would be one that if I'm gonna vote Ranking of Kings for, it would be like for best art style. Because the animation is just, it's like good. It's nothing stellar, but it's the art that really stands out to me for Ranking of Kings. Final season part 2. Again, this is kind of like going back to the Eren Yeager thing, where come back to me when part 3 airs, because once we see the full scale of the rumbling and how they direct that, is gonna make or break that entire ending. The trailers for part 3 give me a lot of hope. Since I really hope it's just not some CG mess. So I feel like we're in a similar situation that we're down between Demon Slayer and Cyberpunk. My selection for best director will be going to Cyberpunk Edge Runners with Imayashi. I don't think I'm ruffling any feathers when I say that Trigger production shows, especially their originals, go over the top in terms of production. How there's always so many moving parts on the screen at any given point that it is just phenomenal to watch for those that have like myself, like some attention difficulties. It is easy to latch on to all the flowing parts and all the bright lights. It is it's a masterclass in terms of visual art. The fact that the cinematography of this is just phenomenal. I'm sensing a pattern between Demon Slayer Season 2 and Cyberpunk. It seems to always be my last 2 picks in any category. The nominees for Best Anime Song are the Chiki Chiki Chiki, the one from your boy Kongming. We have Comedy from Spy Family, My Nonfiction Kaguya-sama, Shall We Dance from Shadow's House, The Rumbling Attack on Titan, and New Genesis, the theme song for the One Piece film Red. This is interesting because, as I've said, I haven't watched Kaguya. I didn't watch your boy Kongming, but I do know the song just from all the compilations of YouTube videos I've watched. I did not watch Season 2 of Shadow's House. I don't even think of any videos of Shall We Dance. I haven't watched the movie. I'm a little behind on One Piece. Admittedly, you can just listen to songs on YouTube. You don't have to watch the product. Well, I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Rumbling is one of my favorite songs of all time, so I can just lock this in, move on, and we can be good with our day. And just to explain why, before we move on, the Rumbling is so thematically on point with Attack on Titan, the specific season. I think when you have a show that, well, a song that matches the themes of the show, it really adds to the immersion. Which is crazy because the OP before this, My War, I thought was going to be like my favorite Attack on Titan season of all, or song of all time. And then next season, Rumbling came. I was like, they just keep one-upping themselves, the Mad Lads. Rumbling is like one of my go-to gym songs. It's great. It's like the most metal Attack on Titan song, or really anime song in general. And I love metal. So this one's easy. My selection for Best Anime Song will be The Rumbling from Attack on Titan. The nominees for Best Anime Film are Bubble, Dragon Ball Super, Superhero, Inu-Oh, Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece Film Red, The Deer King. Oh man, guys, film is just so hard. There's so many great quality films to pick. It's just so hard. My selection will be Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh man, I think outside of like random Pokemon movies back in the early 2000s, this was the first anime movie I saw in theaters, and that was just a wonderful experience. Being with a bunch of fellow weebs that clearly love the IP. And we're all just getting mega hype over every little detail. If we want to talk about like the technicalities, it's Mappa making a full budget movie. I don't know what else you need to ask for. I think the timing of them making this prequel is perfect, knowing where things go in season 2 of the show. So this was a perfect timing for having the prequel done. Admittedly, I'll also be completely honest. Jujutsu Kaisen is the only film I watched from this. Bubble's been sitting there in my to watch list for seemingly years now. I know the Deer King gets a lot of niche support but it's obviously not popular enough to win this category. I would be shocked if Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't win this. Shocked, I say. I'll be honest, I've never heard of this one. But it's Science Saru, man. That looks pretty, at least. My selection for best anime film will be Jujutsu Kaisen. See, that was an easy one. Let's go, team. Good job. Before I click this, I'm gonna just assume Kevin is gonna be on this for Made in Abyss, so that's gonna be fun. The nominees for best score are Spy Family, Cyberpunk, your boy Kong Ming, your boy Aaron Yeager, Made in Abyss, and Demon Slayer. It's too easy. It's just, I don't know how this Aussie Mad Lad does it. The ambient music and the OST for Made in Abyss is just always top notch. That's something that you just don't see in other anime. Again, I didn't watch your boy Kong Ming. I just know the OP. Spy Family, it has its good jazzy bits. It does has its good jazzy bits. Demon Slayer. When I think of Demon Slayer OST, I just think of like just the OPs and then just dramatic action music in the background. Cyberpunk is a good contender. We all know the songs. We all know the ones that go viral on TikTok and online in general. If we're including OPs and EDs for best score, well, I guess score would be the OST during the show. I was gonna say, like, the fact that there's a Japanese animation that includes early 2000s American alt pop punk is crazy. But for me personally, it'll be Kevin Pankin. It'll always be Kevin Pankin until proven otherwise for OSTs. My selection for best score is Kevin Pankin with Made in Abyss Season 2. Gotta give some love to shows that aren't just Cyberpunk. Otherwise, this will be the Cyberpunk show. Watch at the awards, Cyberpunk like sweeps, and there's like this fight between Sony and Netflix. Like Sony owning Crunchyroll and Netflix owning the Netflix originals. And it's like, brr. Should we? Let's do OD or OP first, and then we'll do ED. Because that's how it happens in the show. You watch the beginning and then the end. The nominees for best OP are your boy Kong Ming, Spy Family, Ranking of Kings, Eren Yeager, Cyberpunk, and Demon Slayer. This one is a hard one. Despite me not watching the show, this OP is hilarious. And it's fun, it's upbeat. It's got those hip-hop elements. I can't say too much about the Ranking of Kings OP. I think this is, when I think of thinking back, this is the worst of the two, actually. Rumbling, we already talked about how awesome this song is. This Fire from Franz Ferdinand, like I was alluding to earlier, the fact that a Japanese animation can include early 2000s Western pop punk is hilarious to me. And then she puts out bangers, man. She puts out bangers. Yeah, for me personally, it's between Rumbling and this Fire. Oh, this is so hard. Oh, man. Okay, I know we just said like Rumbling is like the best song, so naturally it wouldn't be the best OP. But this Fire wasn't even listed, so I couldn't even like factor that in. Does logic apply in anime? No, logic applies to retiring to the rap and then being a Twitch streamer, but then rapping more. My selection for the best opening sequence is Rumbling, Attack on Titan, Final Season, Part 2. Best ending. So we're going from the hype OPs that gets blood going to the oh god, I'm crying, oh god, the feels category. The nominees for best ending sequence are Attack on Titan, Final Season, Part 2, Spy Family, My Dress Up Darling, Komi Can't Communicate, Kaguya-sama, and Call of the Night. Guys, two things. Where's the cyberpunk ED? Did they? Is that not considered an ED? And it's just like part of the OST. Second, I fell in my chair moment. The Call of the Night OP needed to be listed. Holy crap, that is such a big L in my opinion. I think, in all honesty, that's probably like the biggest L I've seen so far from these categories. The Call of the Night OP, mind you, it's similar to the ED because it's the same band. It's kind of like doing the same motif of the same song, but the OP visuals are phenomenal, and it factors into the visuals, the lyrics so well about falling and the camera angles, and oh my god, that's such a bad loss. Oh my god. Anyway, we gotta talk about EDs now. Like I said, I haven't watched Kaguya, so I can't speak to My Heart Has Surrendered. Akuma no Ko is like one of my favorite Attack on Titan EDs, and it's weird because Attack on Titan OPs are like nonstop phenomenal over and over and over again, but their EDs for me tend to be hit or miss, and this one's definitely a hit given the lyrical aspects of it, talking about, well, someone's the devil. Who do you think is the devil in this show, guys? This was a good song too. I like this one. All right, I know what it is. My selection for best ending sequence will be Call of the Night. I love this band, Creepy Nuts. The name is even better. They have such a fun sound. I really wish the OP version was included in the OPs, but barring that, I will pick it as the ED. But I just like the version of the OP a lot better. It has a great melody that you can like just sing and hum to it. Don't ask me to sing. Don't ask me to sing Japanese at that. But yeah, it's gonna be Call of the Night for best ED. Also, we haven't really, outside of the romance, we haven't seen a lot of Call of the Night, which is disappointing. All right, before we talk about this, I want to talk about this category. Best continuing series. This was a category they had like years and years ago and then got rid of because it became painfully obvious what defines a continuing series, because they would list weekly shonen shows as well as sequels to shows that like had like 3 years in between. Because I remember March comes in like a Lion season 2 winning one year after like, I can't remember how much time was between season 1 and 2, but it was so weird like having in the same category Dragon Ball or Boruto and just having like weekly shows that are continuing and then just seasonal shows. So the fact that this category is back is interesting to me. The nominees for best continuing series are Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, JoJo's, Kaguya-sama, Made in Abyss, and One Piece. All of these shows are like seasonal shows that are sequels, and then just One Piece. Because I feel like for some of these shows, we gotta represent One Piece somehow, but like this award show is extremely seasonal based. So how can we like not piss off our Toei lords? Hey, One Piece fans, do people still like your show? Every 5 minutes of new content every week? But it's one of the biggest shows of all time. We have to recognize it somehow. Then call it one of the best fantasy shows or some of the best action shows. Okay, well, let's not like kid ourselves here. For complete transparency, Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer aired in winter 2022, and I have Attack on Titan over Demon Slayer. And then Made in Abyss is my #1 show from summer, so these two are #1s in their respective seasons. I'm not the biggest fan of JoJo's Part 6. Sorry, Joe Bros. Attack on Titan, Made in Abyss. Attack on Titan, Made in Abyss. Demon Slayer. Attack on Titan, Made in Abyss. What's your favorite JoJo's part? Unpopular opinion, third part. People think it's stretched out and way too long because it is the longest part. I just want to see some bros traveling the world. Bros being bros. 7. Well, see, I'm an anime only Joe Bro. So once Steel Ball Run is adapted, I will of course say 7. But that won't be for like 5-10 years. I'll be honest with you guys, if I'm just thinking of these specific parts, like Final Season Part 2 and Made in Abyss Season 2, I think as a product, Made in Abyss is better. Trying to gauge that reaction from chat. Like, yes, the Eren Yeager going into the minds of everyone was so cool, and the reveals, the history, the lore, it was awesome. It was great. The beginning of the rumbling, such a great moment, a great cliffhanger. Everyone turning. There's a lot of spoilers in this, by the way, sorry. So many field moments. And the lore for Made in Abyss was also great. We got to see the previous adventuring group, how Fapta became who she is, in the same vein with Nanachi. I hate this category. I hate it. This feels like that Family Guy scene where Peter says he did not like The Godfather in the Family's Question. Look, Attack on Titan, it insists upon itself. Clip it. That's a good one. All right, okay, I think I've come to a decision. My selection for best continuing series is Made in Abyss Season 2. All right, everyone yell at me. Go ahead. I don't care. I'm a big man. I could take it. It was a close second. Put it this way. If they had somehow included part 3 in this would probably win. But they didn't. Also, if they have this category next year, best continuing series, Bleach is going to win with 99% of the vote. Just a little foreshadow a year from now, just letting you all know. The nominees for best new series are Call of the Night, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Recoil, My Dress Up Darling, Spy Family, Ya Boy Kong Ming. All right, we got this is a good selection. I like this spread. This is a good selection. I can already tell you that, say, we're already down to 2 for me, personally. And it's going to be obvious which 2. Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Again, welcome to the Cyberpunk show. Hi, nice to meet you. Here's your chooms. And then Call of the Night. Like I said, we haven't really had too much Call of the Night representation. Spy Family is like a great show. It's a great show. I don't want to be the person that says read the manga, it's better, because you should enjoy your entertainment however way you want. But the pacing in the manga is better. My Dress Up Darling, it's cute. Good 12-episode romp. But these two are on some other level. Call of the Night has, like I said, some of my favorite songs. It's literally vibe the anime. Every frame you can screenshot and send it as your background screensaver. It's so cool to watch. It's my favorite vampire property since Twilight. And we've gone into depth about Cyberpunk. I'm glad Call of the Night is getting some representation, especially in some of these upper categories. The song is literally stuck in my head right now. It's like picking between my favorite children. I have my decision. My selection for best new series is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It's Studio Trigger doing Studio Trigger things. It's an original, not based on a light novel or a manga. So they had so much open creativity with the product. As I said earlier, damn near made me play the game again, which is probably the highest level of respect I can give. The characters are phenomenal. Lucy. The vibes, the music. It's great. I love Cyberpunk. The nominees for best animation are... for best animation, Sailor Uniform, Attack on Titan, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Demon Slayer, Ranking of Kings, Spy Family. And the hits just keep coming and coming. Animation to me is always one of my favorite categories. I love seeing my screen go burr. I'll always credit those that take risks with animation and with art style. I didn't watch Sailor Uniform, but from what I saw, I know it looks gorgeous. It's Cloverworks doing good Cloverworks stuff. Spy Family, when I think of Spy Family, I don't think of animation, if I'm being candid with you. There's some stuff early on in the first half that are oh yeah, that's pretty damn good. But overall, it's not a show that I come back to in thinking of animation. Ranking of Kings, again, I like the art style of this, but the actual animation, the frame by frame movement, it's good, but it's not great compared to some of the others. Which leads us down to the three usual suspects, I swear. Attack on Titan, Cyberpunk, and Demon Slayer. Attack on Titan, for me personally, has also been a show that when I think about animation isn't one of the first things that come to my mind. When I think of Attack on Titan, I automatically think the storyline. I think of the characters. I think of reveals. But in terms of like animation, cinematography, I don't think of that first. Which leads me down to Cyberpunk and Demon Slayer. We all know at this point, Ufotable, with all of its limitless, non-taxed money, just puts it all into Demon Slayer, which I highly enjoy. I do feel that the entertainment arc was indeed a step up in terms of animation from season 1, specifically in the back half. Anything with their powers, I guess you can call them, is always gorgeous to watch. Then Cyberpunk, again, it's just so fluid. It's so many moving parts are happening at the same time that I envy those animators at Trigger. So do we keep with the Cyberpunk show meme going, or do we dip into some Demon Slayer? I should have had like a running total of like how many awards I've given to these. I'm not one of those people that think like, don't give a show an award because it doesn't deserve it, but because it's won like so many awards and you want it to represent other shows. If a show is worthy of winning the damn award, it should win it. But I feel like I've given so many to Cyberpunk. Oh god. Remember those years ago when Yuri on Ice would sweep and My Hero Academia would sweep? I don't feel wrong doing it though. My selection for best animation is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Studio Trigger can do no wrong. Studio Trigger can do no wrong. Oh, darling. That was A1's fault. We don't talk about Darling in the Franxx. Everything good about Darling in the Franxx was Studio Trigger. Everything wrong was A1. For me, character design is always one of the hardest ones to pick. Because, again, I don't have a background in animation. And oftentimes in this category, you have like either the most hyper-realistic character models that look like exactly like a human would in the real world. And then you have like Beastars, where it's literal animals. And so I never can really decide on like, what is the best character design? So let's see what the nominees are. The nominees for best character design are Demon Slayer, Ranking of Kings, Spy Family, My Dress Up Darling, JoJo's, Cyberpunk. Guys, is this the Cyberpunk show or not? All right, let's go through these at least. At least this year, there's no like Beastars to throw you off with, like, or Odd Taxi. Well, it's good looking, but are animals just better character designs? These are all humans, so that's an equal playing field. Spy Family, they're just people. They look cool. Like, Yor obviously has the best character model. I love her outfit. With Ranking of Kings, it's less so the character models, more so the art of the character. When this show came out, one of the biggest praises I gave it was like, oh, it looks like a kid's show, but not like in a demeaning way. It looked very pastel. I love the pastel colors, and that applies to the characters as well. Demon Slayer animation, yes, like I totally understand Demon Slayer animation. I would not fault you. They're just kind of shonen characters to me at this point. Tengen looks cool, but that's mostly because of his blades. None of the characters in Demon Slayer really, in terms of their character model, like stands out to me, the design wise. Besides the demon of this season, the girl, and that's mostly because she's just in a bikini. Dress Up Darling is interesting because like Marine has all the different cosplays that look stellar, which is why I imagine why it's here in character design. JoJo's, the art style is an acquired taste. And if you're watching part 6, I imagine you've stuck around long enough for you to either enjoy it or tolerate it. And Araki always makes the craziest looking characters. Jolene probably has my favorite Joe Bro outfit when I think about it. And then, of course, we have Edge Runners. It's a tough one. My selection for best character design is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean. I think just the stands and the stand users are like always phenomenally designed. Araki, that if there's one thing Araki is pretty good at, is the character designs. Like I thought about Cyberpunk. We gotta get some JoJo love. This is one where I could go back and forth between honestly JoJo, Cyberpunk, and even Dress Up Darling, just given the cosplays that show has. We have another category that was, I believe, new this year, Best Original Anime. And I love original anime because there's no like preconceived notions of a source material. Like you don't have people already spoiling manga or light novels. I find with original anime, creators have far more open creative license with the shows, so I naturally tend to gravitate towards originals. The nominees for Best Original Anime are Birdie Wing, Healer Girl, Recoil, Orbital Children, Vampire in the Garden, and Yurei Deco. I guess Cyberpunk is based on a video game, so it's not original. Wow. So what did I watch from this? I watched these 4. Oh, wow. I know earlier I said like, oh, animation, there's no Science Saru show to pick, but there was a Science Saru show to pick. It just wasn't all that good. But again, the animation of the show is pretty good, so I'm surprised it made it this far, especially for Best Original. Vampire in the Garden from Wit. It's on Netflix. It's like 6 episodes. It has like a cool like mid 2000s vibe to it. It's not my favorite vampire show of the year, I'll tell you that. Orbital Children. I really like the show. It's like 4 or 5 episodes on Netflix. I really did like it. The art's pretty cool. It's very whimsical and nonsensical, which, going back to like my fascination with Trigger, you can probably tell I gravitated towards this. I did not watch Birdie Wing. I know there's a lot of people behind this, and I have no idea what this is. Is this the Crunchyroll sponsored by Healer Girl presents? Like how it was, what was it, last year with some other show that had to get an obligatory nomination somewhere? I've literally never heard of this. Is this where I finally give some Recoil love? Like, it looks good. It's not Vampire in the Garden. Yurei Deco, I wholeheartedly believe and agree with its messaging, and I like the art and animation, but it's not really good. I think this is gonna win anyway, Recoil, but I'll pick Orbital Children just to be different, just to be like a hipster. My pick for Best Original Anime is The Orbital Children. This felt so weird. Surely there was more originals this year. Surely. Admittedly, originals are always like not popular because they're obviously not based on like a pre-existing IP. So the fact that this is the cream of the crop, allegedly, very disappointing. Like I don't want to take anything from Orbital Children. I do like it. Like if you have a couple hours to kill one night, it's a fun romp. But it is really being carried by subliminal whimsy and like okay art. Ladies and gentlemen, others, we have arrived to Anime of the Year. So many phenomenal shows aired this year. Which one will take the crown as the best? Drumroll. The nominees are for Anime of the Year: Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Demon Slayer Entertainment District Arc, Recoil, Ranking of Kings, Spy Family. All right, friends, these are your 6 best shows, allegedly, supposedly, based on international judges. Was like Horus the sponsored show? No, man, it's Licorice. I can't stress this enough. This show has a lot of like popularity and hype behind it, especially in Japan. On Anime Trending on Twitter, it consistently was in like the top 3 every week. but I don't think it's a stretch to say it's not to the league of the others. Spy Family's not a surprise. Demon Slayer's not a surprise. Cyberpunk's not a surprise. Attack on Titan is not a surprise. Ranking of Kings, I like it being here. I like it being here. Admittedly, the second half, the second core, isn't as strong as the first part, the first core. Attack on Titan. Rumbling. Demon Slayer. Phenomenal animation. My favorite Hashira. Great action, great ufotable-ness. Spy Family, hilarious. Wit Studio and Cloverworks, two of the best studios in the game right now, coming together for a phenomenal show. Recoil, cute girls be cute. Cyberpunk Edgerunners, a Netflix original to end all Netflix originals. It's tough, man. It's hard. It's hard. This is a moment where I am thoroughly glad that the fall 2022 shows aren't listed. Because if you want me to like think about adding Chainsaw Man and Bleach into this, we'd have an aneurysm. That's a problem for next year then. But for this year, I've come to my decision. Chat, go ahead and get yours ready. Go ahead and get your pick ready. I'm about to reveal mine. My pick for Anime of the Year for 2022 is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It's the Cyberpunk show, baby! Oh my god. So, I'll say this. I haven't really made online content about like my favorite or top 10 lists or whatever, because the year kind of flew by me, and we're already like almost over with January. But Cyberpunk was always for me my favorite show of the year. I kept that morsel in my head to keep you all in suspense. Cyberpunk just does everything right, in my opinion. Like any checkbox, it checks it off. It's just a banger, man. Hit after hit after hit, I'm telling you. Maybe I'm just saying this now, so when Attack on Titan is nominated next year, I don't feel as bad, like double dipping. Because I'm pretty sure Attack on Titan was my last year. But yeah, I feel good with that. Demon Slayer is damn good. Demon Slayer is damn good. But Cyberpunk, it's the Cyberpunk show, man. I don't know what to tell you. But we would like to thank all the nominees for putting out their best work. It was a tough year. 2022 was a phenomenal year in Japanese animation, especially when you don't even factor in the fall season. When you factor that in, then this would be unbearable to even try to factor in Chainsaw Man and the like. That's a problem for next year. But thank you very much for seeing my picks for the anime awards. Make sure you vote for the next few days, 5-6 days. You can vote daily with your Crunchyroll account. And then tune in March 4th for the winners of the award show. And as you saw here, you already know what's going to win because my picks are right. My taste is perfect. You do not need to listen to anyone else. Thank you for tuning in, friends. And as always, stay awesome.